what the hell it is. It's the way it goes. It is 8 o'clock on Monday morning, and that means it's time for the Growth Mode Live kickoff meeting with Donnie and Kevin and Keith and me and Jerry this morning. Boy, we just got all kinds of great stuff going on. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning.
Well, Morris must have had his coffee this morning.
The man is on it. I love it.
How was everybody's weekend?
Not as hot as normal. We had some like clouds come through and cool it down a little bit, so it was actually kind of nice out.
Dude, I don't know who was praying to the gods that overlook Texas, but yeah, I agree. I was able actually to go out into a pasture and build another goat barn and get it all done. And you don't do that shit in July, especially here in Texas.
Hey, Donnie, do you have any cows?
No.
Oh, good. I've got a fun fact for you coming up later on in the show.
I think he needs to get Donnie needs to get some of the mini Scottish Highland cows. I think
those are what Elizabeth wants. We got to get a little bit more land, but those are 100% what she wants. Those big, fluffy, curly-haired ones. But they're about this big. I mean, they
kind of look like they kind of look like Keith, except they're on four legs.
Yeah, so the problem is I've got a friend down in Houston that actually used to have 6 of those, and they said they were the absolute meanest things on their farm, and they had to get rid of them.
Yeah,
everyone I've talked to said they are like the nicest, gentlest animals you can ever have.
Yeah, maybe it's the breed or something. I'm not sure. So
or the owners.
Oreo cows. Yeah. The Oreo cows, they have a name too, but they're literally black on the tail and the head, and they got a white stripe around them. But same thing with those is they're either the most nice animals in the world or the biggest assholes. So.
Morris, do you guys have flowers out there?
We do.
Okay, good. I got a great fact for you. That's a double fact that you will use later today. So you get your cows, I got my flowers. I can't wait for that segment.
Right. We're looking forward to this.
I don't know if we are. I really don't know if we are.
Well, I got to tell you guys, you asked about our weekend. Getting old is a wonderful thing because the alternative is not so hot, I guess. But
wait, getting young?
Did you fall down again?
Well, that'll work. No, I did not fall down this time. I did not. But that's one of the things that happens when you get old.
Can somebody get him a button? Do that. Help by falling and I can't get up.
Need one of those.
Hangs on your necklace.
And you wind up going to the doctor a lot, either for yourself or your spouse or your family or something. We did that on Friday and had one of those tests that nobody ever really wants to have, but you have to have it every 2 to 5 years. Did that and recovered from that all weekend. And then last night I broke a tooth, so today I got to go to the dentist. This is getting to be the whole body wearing out thing is really a pain in the neck.
We can buy you a bubble ball.
That'll work.
It's kind of what I was thinking you needed.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you mean by getting old. I'm just keep getting younger and younger.
Is that a PSA for when you're in your 90s?
Well, the good news is I'm still 19 in my head.
There you go. All right.
That is the one thing they don't tell you about getting older. It doesn't matter how old you get, you still feel like you're 18.
Yep.
And bulletproof until proven otherwise. Like
exactly.
You try and do something like you're 18 years old and then everything hurts. Yeah, you learn really quick.
Jerry, where do you live?
Jacksonville Beach, Florida.
Oh, very cool. We were neighbors for a short while. It's down in Daytona Beach for a few years.
Oh, all right, perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, our our weekend involved kids' parties and a lot of swimming in the swimming pool because it was hot as the dickens here too. But we got a little bit of rain too. So thanks for sending it this way.
Yeah. Well, we didn't send it because we can't get it. Jeez.
Yeah, Kevin, it was probably like in the 70s up there by you.
We were mid 80s during the day, but it was getting down to low 60s at night.
Yeah.
That's all right. Just remember, it's going to snow one day. Damn it! It's going to snow up there, and then stick around, and it's
I was looking at Kentucky, just looking at the weather because they've got 500-acre ranches and stuff out there for like $600,000. The weather this weekend was 75 degrees.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, Kentucky's sure looking really good right about now.
Should look at Tennessee, no state taxes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we love about Texas.
So one of the things they asked me to do is each week come in and teach. And what they asked me to teach on, I'm actually going to throw them a curveball and change it up a little bit because there's a new series on TV. I don't know if any of you guys are watching it, but it's called Quarterback on Netflix. And it is freaking ridiculously awesome. There's been I think I'm on the 3rd episode of it, and it's following 4 of the young gun quarterbacks. I guess they're not all young bucks, but the kid from Kansas City,
Pat Mahomes.
Yeah. So, and if you follow me at all, you know I'm not very much a sports guy, but I was fascinated to turn this on. I'm gonna tell you, there's been some just ridiculous takeaways from this series that have been tremendously valuable for me. Watching them. Probably the biggest thing that I'll be reminded of is the idea of doing the work until the work's done. So let me preface this that, Kevin grew up on a farm. I have a full working farm. And yesterday morning, I was a little bit under the weather. I'm not sure if I'm coming down with something. I had a slight cough or whatever. But, on the farm, the chickens and goats can't let themselves out. They can't put themselves to bed. Well, yesterday morning, in my freaking coughing stupor, obviously didn't let my chickens out. And we lost my wife's favorite freaking rooster to heat stroke. Was 100% my fault, right? And it was a great reminder of doing the work until the work's done. Is you don't get a day off when you run a farm. And I think you should run your business that same way. And I say that to watch these quarterbacks and the dedication they have to their craft and the work they put in. The one guy who's probably a little bit older than him, I forget which team he plays for, but to watch his training regiment and what he did, and then the Pat Mahomes, his freaking trainer put him through these paces that were just insane. And it's really cool to watch these young bucks freaking work to that level of determination and drive. And I know I often kind of look at those guys, even though they're a hell of a lot younger than I am, but I often look at those guys and I kind of put them on a pedestal because of the game of where they're at and the things that they're doing. And man, watching them battle their own head trash has probably been my coolest thing to see is these guys top of their game. And there was one where it wasn't Pat Mahomes, one of the other quarterbacks. Dude threw like 5 touchdowns in a game, and all he could think about was the one pass he fucked up in the interception he threw. And it was like, God, these guys are the best of the best in their sport, and they're still dealing with the everyday things. And I think a lot of us oftentimes, I'll speak for myself, think, when you get somewhere, you won't have those type of thoughts. And so it's a cool reminder that everybody's freaking human. The other thing I loved about it was the battle than brotherhood. Man, you watch these guys, get smoked on every play. I mean, just get the shit kicked out of them and instantly watch a linebacker that just knocked the shit out of a guy, turn around and pick him up off the ground, pat him on the ass, make sure he's good to go. Be able to go with that much rage in a moment and instantly turn it off and realize that it's a game. It's just spectacular to see. And, there was a couple of scenes where after the game, you watch 2 guys from opposing teams that grew up together or played ball together, some other school or whatnot, come together, hug it out, catch up and talk about their kids. And I mean, for me, sometimes I don't see those people as necessarily human, right? You almost like they're somebody else because they're playing the game on the field. And so it was just very cool to watch these people become human, along their journey and watching them interact, and their ability to go out and do what's expected of them and go right back to being a family guy right afterwards. There was one game where one of the quarterbacks just lost it. I mean, he blew the game, 3 or 4 interceptions, just horrible game. Instead of going home and sulking about it, he went home and read his kid a book. To be able to turn that negative energy into something cool like that was absolutely awesome thing to see. As I was watching them take care of their bodies and stuff, and the physical things that they go through, it was one of the cool things they threw out there is literally movement is the best thing. And these guys have chiropractors, massage therapists, deep tissue technicians, and the amount of things they do to their body to keep them going. Like the one quarterback, you could see like inside of his legs were bruised, his ribs were freaking smashed to all hell. And they went from Sunday night, from him barely being able to move, to manipulating his body through chiropractic and other deep tissue massaging, whatnot, to full movement, to like he didn't have any aches or pains. You could see the physical bruises and everything, but the dude was fully fluid and moving. And I thought, God, how cool is that these guys are so dedicated to take care of their bodies that they'll go through those extremes to get everything dialed in. And made me really think about, what the hell am I doing to take care of my own damn body and making sure I'm getting enough freaking movement and likes out there. So I have started working out again, not to the level of intensity of these guys, but it was really, really good to see. Another thing is watching the wives, man. These wives are playing as hard as these guys. I relate these back to the military wives. I mean, our oldest brother's wife did 24 years in the Marine Corps with him. So she might as well have just served 24 years. And to watch these wives, it was almost like they felt it every time their husbands got freaking smacked around. They get a big hit and you'd see their wives even flinch, going, ooh, he's going to feel that one. And they're at all the games. They're, oftentimes at, a lot of the interviews and the likes. And every one of those guys, you could tell how much they appreciated and enjoyed having their wives around and in their lives. And the 3 at least they were highlighting, they weren't the out gallivanting freaking, partying guys. They were doing the freaking work. And, I'm just proud that I've got a wife that stood by me for so many damn years, because building a business is the toughest damn thing in the world. And if you don't have a ride or die in your freaking corner, it makes it a fuck ton tougher to be able to do all this. And to watch their wives, support, take care of the family, in a lot of cases, take care of the household was pretty impressive. I've got a note written down to tell Elizabeth that she needs to take care of the household more so I can be more lazy when I'm off. But I don't think that's going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway.
Can you capture that on video for us?
Yeah, right. When I get a right hook, but it was really cool to see the dynamic of how much they were so family oriented and so beast mode oriented all in the same time. The last thing that I wrote down as I was watching last night is one of the quarterbacks, got banged up, was beaten to hell, season was losing, and he said one phrase that I just absolutely loved. And he said, at this point, if I were to throw in the towel and not play the game, I just feel like a quitter, and I'm not a damn quitter. And I think so many times that we're building a business, I mean, I know, especially in those early years, man, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, fuck, why don't I just go get a job? Why the hell would I continue to do this? Why would I put my ass through all of this stuff? And, what I found is those people who find success, whether it's being a quarterback, whether it's running a business, whether it's doing anything in life, or they're just us assholes that were too dumb to throw in the towel. We kept pushing in going when everybody else would have went back, got a job, and we put our heads down and keep getting after it. So biggest thing that I want people to understand, that these guys are busting their ass. It's not about hard work. It's about doing the right things that will move the business forward. The next side of things is about showing up when you need to show up, being able to go beast mode in full rage. Remember that these people are still people. Take care of your family, support your family life and your home life, and just keep going. I mean, half the battle. I hate the phrase "half the battle is showing up" because showing up is the minimum requirement, right? Right? Showing up is what you have to do. It's everything that happens after you show up that matters. So showing up isn't half the battle. Showing up is like waking up and taking care of the farm in the morning. That's required, right? Everything else is you got to get after it. So if you haven't watched that series, like I said, I'm only 3 episodes in, and the lesson, I mean, it's like watching the best self-help book, seminar in the world, watching the series right now. It's pretty freaking rad. So what do you guys think?
I love what you're talking about with the spouses. It reminds me, well, number one, I couldn't be here today without my spouse of almost 50 years, Carla. It just wouldn't be here. Second thing it reminds me of is that old joke about the couple, the mayor and his wife are driving down the street, and he says, "Hey, you used to date that guy that runs the gas station over there. Aren't you glad you married me? Now you're the wife of the mayor." And she said, "No, if I'd married him, he would have been the mayor." Yeah, right. If I'd married somebody besides Carla, God only knows what I would have been doing. Jeez.
You would have been that gas station attendant.
At best. Probably been the bathroom attendant. But anyway.
I think, Donnie, the thing that stuck out to me is, you look at these pro athletes, they're investing in chiropractors and deep tissue massage. No different than what we do as entrepreneurs. We invest in tools into our business to accelerate the business forward. Same thing. They can't do their job well unless they put the team around them, put the tools and resources to accelerate what they're doing. And there's so many people that are unwilling, or I can't afford that, or I'll do that whenever I get to some fictitious milestone. And the reality of it is you have to invest early and often.
Yeah.
Those guys don't get to where they're at without being, in that place. The other piece of it, you talked about it. It's the craftsman's mentality, right? I say this all the time. Entrepreneurship is earned, right? People think about it as freedom and all of those things. Not when you start out. It's earned. I get time freedom because I created a successful business. I get to make decisions or to be involved with people because I'm already involved with the right people. And so I think you just have to bring that every single day, that craftsman mentality, to be world-class. Are you worth someone doing business with you? And I think you have to answer that question all the time.
And now you guys see why Jerry's coming to speak at the summit. It's gonna be fun interviewing you here in a second, Jerry. We're gonna freaking blow some people's minds with just the way you think, man. I really enjoy the hell out of it.
In the series, the older quarterback is Kirk Cousins. He's a quarterback up here for the Minnesota Vikings. He the taking care of his body is a huge part of his game. He's never missed a start.
That's insane. And he's the one that had his ribs all jacked up and everything. Yep. No. It's insane that what these guys will put themselves through. There's a couple of quarterbacks that you look at today and they can barely move, they can barely get around. But then you look at somebody, who's like Peyton Manning or who's the greatest quarterback of all time?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, right? How the hell is he still throwing a ball and doing the things he is? I can't imagine getting smacked around. I'm 46 years old and I can't imagine getting smacked around. And Tom's in there with these young punks that are looking to take his head off.
I was watching a documentary one time on Jerome Bettis, and he had 2 master bedrooms, one on the first floor and one on the second floor. After game days, he would sleep in the master bedroom on the first floor because he couldn't climb stairs. And he had a jacuzzi hot tub next to his bed on the first floor because he could barely roll out of bed in the morning straight into that jacuzzi where he'd have to sit for almost an hour and a half just to get his muscles going back again. So he could get up and then just recover on that day to be able to walk so that he could go through all the therapies the following day to get back ready for go back to practice.
Hey, what's the deal with ice baths?
Man, there's so much science on there.
That?
Yeah. God, Huberman, who has Huberman Labs, just released a huge study that they showed even sitting in 68-degree water, which is not that cold, The 68-degree water gets the immune system, the muscles, the body, and everything going in the right direction. I don't understand the science from all of it, Morris, but I'm going to screw it. But what I do know from what I've read is sitting in those ice baths, what it does is the body starts going in overdrive, warming itself up and getting everything moving.
Yeah, it's supposed to help your circulation.
Yeah.
Get your blood flowing, get the more oxygen into your veins, all sorts of things like that just delivers so much nutrients all over your entire body to rehab.
I watch
most high contact sports, if you are any type of martial arts, combat sports, the ice bath is usually a standard recovery because it gets all the blood flowing to the areas where you just got pummeled, and it causes the healing to happen faster because of all the blood flow.
Yeah, that Cousins guy was, after one of the games, they have a cold pool that he was in, and he even said that when he's home, especially in college, he would just jump in Lake Michigan in the winter as part of his, and that shit to me is like crazy as hell. But if you really want to understand the ice bath, Wim Hof is one of the biggest freaking guys behind it off. He's got the Wim Hof method, but that dude's insane. I've seen a couple of videos where guys are like, I'm releasing my inner bitch as they jump in there. Trust me, I'm a bitch. I ain't jumping in there.
You're going to do a polar plunge anytime soon?
We're going to get Donnie up to Minnesota for a polar plunge one winter.
Yeah.
I just don't even understand. I mean, that would be a lot of alcohol involved. I'm not saying I wouldn't completely do it, but there'd be a lot of alcohol involved.
Listen, if you weren't doing the polar plunge, there'd still be a lot of alcohol involved.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. I've tried to do cold showers and shit. No, it just sucks.
Yeah,
I don't
totally.
know. Just sucks.
Totally.
Just sucks.
Yeah, if you want to see Donnie do a polar plunge, vote in SC Online.
Let's make this happen.
Like how I just cut that off, though. I have the control.
Johnny, I do the
I
polar
think
plunge
we're gonna-
here in Florida. You can come down here and do it with me at the beach.
Oh, I love it. In Florida around July, I'm in.
I think Keith and I are going to come up with a number of likes that we need to get for a post in SC Online and to get you to come up and do it.
I'll take that bet. Y'all set the likes, comments, and everything else, and I'll fill a freaking horse trough with freaking ice and water, and I will jump my ass.
Jennifer
No, we're
J.
in cold, frozen
Jennifer
lake.
J. said she's out too. No way.
Oh Lord.
So no, I will take that. Y'all set a high ass bar and circle SEN Online for a number of likes and everything else. And if they hit it, I'll fill an ice trough, throw a freaking water and jump.
No,
in there.
frozen lake.
That means I got to fly up to somewhere cold, and that whole idea just sucks.
25 likes and polar
Well,
plunge.
fuck you in 25.
25. That's funny.
Fuck you. All right, let's do Forced Podcast interview. Interesting week for the both of us. I really like the guy, and I even interviewed him on my original podcast that Kevin sent me. But this was a horrible episode. And Kevin, I'm really curious if you got any takeaways out of that episode. We were both really good. We both gave each other really short fucking episodes to listen to. This one was 6 minutes. And I wrote down one thing, but did you get anything out of that, Kevin?
So yeah, first thing I hated the ratio of sponsor posts.
Dude, they repeated their same sponsorship twice. I know. I listened to the
Back.
episode twice just to make sure that I wasn't hearing things. But yeah, they literally played their same commercial twice.
Yeah, that was annoying. But I actually liked the ice model.
That's the only thing I wrote down.
Well, it's 7 minutes, so I was expecting to not get a ton. I was based on their show notes. I was expecting more though. But yeah, I like the ice model on how they go through. So the premise of the episode. Why am I talking about it? You talk about it.
Dude, I'm that's why I gave it to you, because I'm like, I wrote down the ICE model, which was impact, confidence, and ease, as they looked at their marketing, and they did one marketing experiment per week.
Yeah, so they did a growth experiment every week, and they so then what they did to evaluate them is what I really like. They used the ICE model: impact, confidence, and ease. And occasionally they said they would add in reach, but that was really hard to do for a lot of their tests. So how big of impact did it have on
Wait,
sales?
it goes from ice to rice.
No, it'd be ICER. Impact, confidence. How confident are they that this will be able to continue working that way? And then the ease: was it easy to do, or would it be really hard to scale? So I like that part. I was wishing they'd go into more about how they set up the growth experiments, but that they really rushed over that part. And then, got to the one piece that was good. So I was expecting a little bit more, but I wasn't a complete disappointment.
No. Yeah, I mean, it took 2 minutes to get into a 6-minute episode, and the first 2 minutes were nothing but marketing promotions. They had one nugget, and then it was right back to marketing and promotions. So, I get that they're putting out a daily episode, so they're struggling probably to come up with regular content every damn day. It's a lot to ask for, a lot of work, but fucking put some value in there. There's no reason I would go back and listen to that show. There just wasn't enough value in it for me. So, what do you think about the one I gave you? Back to my favorite guy I'm listening to right now.
So I got one cool thing out of that. I like, and what it's the part that got my ears perked up was when he was talking about the 6 types of lead generation, and he said that the word of mouth was the only one that actually compounds, and it grows exponentially. Everything else is linear. You spend more in ads, your results will go up, that type of stuff. So
yeah, no, I really like it. I don't think there's anybody better in the game right now than Alex Hormozy about explaining business and just really breaking it down Big Bird style. And even Leela, his wife, Hormozy, I've been listening to a couple of her episodes as well. One thing that wasn't in this episode, but I heard on Leela's, is especially in the early games of business, quit consuming content and get to fucking work. Part of the thing that people struggle with early on is they're consuming so much that they're just overwhelming themselves with information, and that's why their business isn't growing, because they're trying all the things. But in this episode, he broke down 3 questions that can help you. 3 questions to ask yourself for your product. Ask yourself for product and service. And the first question is what would happen if your service cost 100x what it currently does? For it to be that valuable, what would have to change in your product and service? And Hormozy's got this whole ideal that you should, not sell to get your clients. You should use your clients to get your sales, meaning the experience your clients have should be so amazing that your clients are word of mouth talking about you, celebrating you so much that you freaking are growing because of how awesome they are. The second question, he said, is what happens if whatever you charge was 1/10 of the price, meaning you had to reduce the amount of cost to actually acquire and get that client. What would be the most simplified way you would get to really dumb down that pricing, which was pretty fantastic to look at your client acquisition cost and how you'd reduce that and the likes. And the last one, what was the last one, Kevin? You remember? Just escaped my mind.
Product, profit, and crap. No, I don't remember the last one.
Damn, I listened to this.
Profit and crap. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Dang it, I listened to this one a couple times. and I don't remember which one it is, but I can tell you, Hermosi's got me. Well, two things. One, in side of our company and our online portal for all of our clients, I put out there I wanted a feedback, thing for all of our clients. And so we put a form out there. Clients were able to anonymously give us feedback on things that we could be doing great, better, improve, and the likes. And then I recorded a Zoom reading them out loud and then responding directly to them because I want to get better at what we're doing and deliver better. And, our onboarding process was the number one thing that popped up as a huge issue. And that is something we're working on now to get dialed in. So if you're watching this or you guys here and you guys have onboarding best practices, I really would love to have those. So we were asked in our online group if we would share what we're doing to revamp our onboarding. So we're now documenting the entire process of how we're revamping the onboarding process. So the first thing we did is ask for feedback. And now the second thing we're doing is actually asking for the hive mind, everybody out there in social world and whatnot. What are some of the things you're doing for best practices when it comes to onboarding? So, and we're going to continue to document this all the way.
Yeah, I just don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You guys have built some really great things to help people get involved with Success Champions and Circle and such. Use what you've got, maybe rearrange it some and do some other things, Donnie. But
for sure. Yeah. But the market will always give you the answers, right? Yeah. So when looking at our client base and retention rates and the likes, there's a lot of work to do. Do I agree with you? We have some amazing tools. Absolutely. Do I also know that we need to get a hell of a lot better to making sure people know what those tools are, where to find them, how to use them?
It's just where to find them.
Get to it. Yeah.
Yep. A hell of a lot better. So we're looking at some best practices and the like to deliver. But I can tell you, Hermosi is probably the guy that's helped me really get more client focused than anybody else I've ever listened to. And it's crazy because the guy built his empire around gyms, a very transactional sale by nature. And his business models have just done really, really well for us. And we'll continue to go down that path.
Have you read his book, $100 Million Offers?
Not $100 Million Offers. I listened to Gym Launch. Okay. And I'm on his book launch team for $100 million leads.
Yeah. He's in the middle of doing that one right now. What you were talking about is part of that $100 million offers book. What would it take to 100x? What would it take to 1/10? You talk about like scale and then customer intimacy. But one of the things I'd think about for you is your customer journey. So if onboarding is a small issue for you, then think about what do we want our clients at the end of this experience to say, think, and then you engineer that experience all the way through. How are my touch points happening in a way that it will become obvious that this is what they're going to say to someone when they say, oh, was that program worth it? And they're going to say, oh my God, it was incredible. The other thing that I'd be careful about is best practices. Because sometimes that leads to lazy answers. What worked for someone else doesn't necessarily mean that it's right answer for you. And it leads to comparison, right? Better is by nature a comparison, as opposed to different is what sets you apart. And so I would encourage you to create a different experience instead of trying to create a better experience.
I like that rephrasing. Words have power, and I like that reframing. I know for me that I am a feedback guy, so most times I do better when I hear things and then can implement. So I like that rephrasing of it. So we'll definitely be moving in that direction. So thanks for that, Jerry. So if you guys are out there listening and you guys have some ideas, better practices, how's that, on how we can improve or what some of the things your guys doing in your onboarding processes, is a big thing that I'm focused on is lifetime value. How long can we keep and continue to improve our journey with our clients? So good stuff. not a bad week for podcast. So
Yeah, listen, if you guys like Alex Hormozy and those guys, you should find this Jerry McNamara guy. I've heard he's pretty cool.
well, maybe. So, all right, Mr. Jerry McNamara. Dude, I can tell you, the day I met Jerry, was introduced to him through Pablo, I think introduced us, and we jumped on a Zoom, and Jerry and I instantly hit it off. I was a guest on his podcast. I just interviewed him for ours. The dude's got some freaking knowledge and the background to back it up with the companies he's been a part of and run and the people he works with. Oh, Jerry, most of the people that tune into us are these small business owners that, are your corporate escapees. Yep. That are trying to figure out how to get their businesses rock and roll and not create a shitty job for themselves. What would you tell people as they're, getting their business up? What are some of the big areas they should be focused on to make sure that they're getting their business dialed in and making their business actually function and grow?
Yeah. So the first one that I always start with is you have to be really clear about the important and painful problem that you solve for people and who you solve it for. And that may sound silly, like, oh my gosh, how would you not know that? And the reality of it is I have lots of businesses that I've encountered in my career who aren't clear about that. I have one company that I advise that'll do $35 million this year, and they're not 100% certain the problem they solve or the customer that they solve it for, because they have multiple tiers of distribution. And I said, what a great business that we're in, that we don't know what problem we solve or who we solve it for, and yet people gave us $35 million. It's amazing.
That to that point, when I sold commercial printing, right? Yep. Ink on paper, literally, we sold brochures, pamphlets, and the likes. I'd have a hard time coming up with what problem do I actually solve selling commercial printing. It's a fascinating way. And yet we were a $44 million company, right? Now, granted, I was the sales guy in there. I wasn't the owner, but I'd have a hard time coming up with that same ideal of what the hell problem we were actually solving.
I would guess that you were solving a communication problem for a company.
Potentially, but for one company, it would be communication. For the next company, it was a tech pub, right? So
communication, right? How are they communicating? What is it that you're putting out? You're either moving people to emotion to get them to act, or you're giving them information so that they can do something better in a tech pub situation.
I would tell you that would definitely have made me sold it completely differently than the way I did. Mm-hmm. So I sold on a competitive basis in that industry, not, because most times the sales call is, look, we got the same equipment, same machine, same turn time, same thing. The only thing that makes a difference is you get me to battle it out for you, right? And I make sure your shit works. So,
and pricing, right? Because if you have...
Yeah, but if pricing, you race to the bottom.
100%. That's the problem, right? Yep. And so that's why you have to understand the problem that you're solving so you can communicate it differently than we have the same shit, we have the same paper, we can do the same thing. Okay, so why you then? Why are they choosing you? And if it's just you, Donnie, then you've put a cap on your scale of your business.
Correct.
If you have to be the force of nature in your business, then you've missed the mark in being able to scale it. And you really have to trace this between, so coming back to your question, what do we want to think about? The important, painful problem that we solve, who we solve it for, and then to understand how business goes through inflection points. So the first stage of the business, you have gotten yourself a job. You're doing things that you don't necessarily want to do, but you have to do because they have to get done. Maybe it's you're implementing a CRM. Unless you're coming to the table with lots of capital and you're going to pay people to solve problems for you, that's awesome if you can do it. Most people don't do that, right? We work in the business for a period of time until it starts working. And then we hire person number 1, person number 2, person number 3. Now we have like a small business, right? Because now we're directing people, we're allocating resources on opportunities to unlock success. Then you get past that point, and then you're into scale mode. So I think people have to be understanding for a part of your get up and go, you're going to be working in the business. That's just the nature of it. But you want to get out of that situation as quickly as possible so that you can have a true business and not a job.
Yeah, for sure. So to back it up a little bit, how do you discover what pain or problem you solve? Is there like 3 steps, a strategy to figure it out, or are you just supposed to pull it out of your ass?
Well, when you think about people, they usually start as the technical leader. Like, I can do this thing better than everyone else. They're a corporate refugee because I was doing it for them. They're making margin on me. Why don't I just give this to the world? And this is the problem that I can solve. I would tell you, whatever you're bringing to market, test, and test. Because at least in my experience, it's not the first idea that you have that hits or works. And what I like to do when people start to buy your product, you said it earlier, feedback. Why is it that you chose me? What fears did you have when you were making this decision? Who else did you consider? Right? You start to ask those questions and you get to a place of better intel. Because the problem that I might solve may not be the one that is resonating with the marketplace. I'll give you an example. I ran a soccer uniform company. We own the manufacturing facility in Toronto. And one of the things that we proclaimed as our different was we never discontinued our jerseys because we own the fabric, we own the patterns. If you wanted one in 4 years, we didn't discontinue it. We could make you one. Well, yeah, I drank my own Kool-Aid, but that's not what the market wanted. The market wanted new uniforms every year or every other year. And the only people that really cared about it were small Christian schools in Louisiana because they wanted to hold on to their uniforms for 10 years. So the problem that I was espousing, that I was solving, was not actually important to the marketplace. What they wanted was a good quality product at a fair price that was delivered by game day. And the thing that we were best at was delivering it by game day because we owned all the manufacturing equipment, all the printing equipment, and we could get you uniforms faster than anyone else. And so that was the piece that I had to pivot to. The problem that I thought I was solving in the market was not the one that actually resonated with people.
So how does somebody do you need to have a singular focus, like you're fixing one pain or one problem? Because I think we have dual. What we have is people struggle with getting in the right room, being around the right people, and getting those right connections. And then they're struggling with business growth. And I think we solve both of those issues by helping them get introduced into the right connections. Can you have a dual focus like that, or does it need to be singular?
I think you always start with one. It's way easier to solve one problem for one customer and then scale it, because a confused mind doesn't buy. You know this. You're a sales guy by nature. And so be very clear about the problem that you solve, and then you talk about all the issues around that problem, because the person who describes the problem best is the one perceived to have the answer. So if you are not talking about is your company, I would argue that you have one problem. Give me the two that you said. One is the room with the right people.
Yep. And business
the other
growth.
one is scale.
Growth before scale, because most people aren't going to scale; they're going to grow.
I would argue that the first one is really a subset of the second
one. I'd agree with that.
So if I would just be testing my message. Is it more relevant and resonant to the people that I'm speaking to and serving, that they want to be in the room with people? Because when you start out and you're a corporate refugee and you used to have 50 people around you all the time, and now you're in your house with your little office by yourself, that's a lonely place to be.
Yeah.
And so
on to that point, a message that's hitting really well for us right now is don't build your business alone.
I think that's great. Right. And then, once you get people to a certain place where they think like, oh my gosh, I'm learning from all of these people, this is incredible. Then you might be able to talk about all the other growth things that you want to do. But the first step is get the right people around me.
I'm glad you said what you said earlier, because people listen to all this content and they get overloaded content. And you said something earlier that said test. And we kind of say break, right? Yeah. It's the exact same thing. A lot of people come into us and they'll say, hey, I heard this person say this. I'm like, yeah, it's the same thing that we teach. We just say different vernacular. right? Different verbiage, things like that. But I love it when you said test, because go out and break shit. It's the only way you're going to figure out what works, right?
100%.
Totally agree. And I was giving a talk to a college group of finance students. Someone said to me, "God, what a career you've had. Have you ever failed?" And I started laughing. I said, "No one's failed more than me. That's why I've had success." I said, "I am so willing to fail and get my teeth bashed in, because now I could teach behind me, whether I'm 2 meters or 2 miles ahead. Doesn't matter. We're better together." And I think that's the magic of what you guys are doing, bringing people together, figuring out what works, sharing best practices, this idea, I had this problem. It's the same thing I do. In the last 6 years, I've advised over 100 companies.
Well, it's a big problem with corporate escapees, right? I'm one of them. 27 years as a corporate executive. Everybody was afraid to take a chance or afraid to make a mistake because we'd get fired.
That's right.
Right? You swing and miss in the corporate world. So you come out and you become an entrepreneur and you're like, you still got that hesitation. It takes a minute to be able to jump off that ledge and try and make a mistake. So I understand where everybody's coming from.
Yeah. And I love that you took the jump, right? I was talking with someone recently, and they were talking about imposter syndrome and fear of failure.
Yeah.
So I don't fucking fear failure. What I fear is being 75 years old, being on a hospital bed, and thinking to myself, I had chances to make an impact on this world, and I was chicken shit. And, I have 2 young kids, and I think to myself, what are people going to say to my kids at my funeral? And I'm very clear about what I want people to say about me. I took chances. Some of them worked out, some of them didn't. But all the people that showed up, they were better because I was with them. I think that's pretty good. You align your actions with your vision.
Yeah, I like that. Last point that I want to put on you, Jerry, is I love the stages you kind of broke down when somebody's building their business. Is stage 1, you kind of just build a job for yourself, right? You're doing all the things, business whoring it out. Stage 2, you actually become a small business when you start outsourcing, build your team around. And then stage 3 is you're actually scaling it, really rock and roll. I think a lot of people are in stage 1 trying to act like they're in stage 3. Yeah. And I think that you have to go through the different stages. For us, we're in stage 2 of this thing, functioning as a small business, still building out our teams. We've got a 4-person executive team now, which is pretty awesome, and continuing to build things. So I love when things can be broken down in such a simple manner like that.
Well, I think it's important too, because you were talking about consuming content. And I have a term for that. People are playing at business. They're not doing business. Like, they're working on their logo. They're working on their website. They're doing all the things that are around the business that are non-monetary in nature. And it's like, fantastic. Is your website going to pay your mortgage this month? Like, how is this going to work? Because
it comes back to the business development activities.
Yep.
I love it.
I mean, nothing happens until a sale occurs. And no one's going to buy something from you unless they're really clear about the problem you can solve for them, right? What's the before state and what's the after state that we're going to leave them in, right? And so same thing with you guys. Lonely, corporate refugee to well-connected growth mode entrepreneur.
Love it. Jerry, you're awesome. How do people get in touch with you, Jerry?
I'm very active on LinkedIn. That's a great space to find me, Jerry McNamara. Or provenchaos.com is another good place to find me too.
Love it. Jerry will be speaking at the Badass Business Summit. You guys can see now why we're bringing him in. The dude's a rock star, knows his stuff, and I swear every time I sit across from this asshole, I learn something new. It's a really a fun conversation every time. So thanks for hanging out with us, Jerry.
Oh man, this is great.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks, Jerry.
For Jennifer, Jennifer asks, "Hey, I missed what we have to have Donnie take an ice bath." So Keith and I will be posting an SD on.
I don't know what happened there. All of a sudden, the button just got hit. I don't know what happened.
That was
We're still going to be doing a polar plunge. We're down to 10 likes now.
Yeah, no, that ain't a thing.
All you got to do is interrupt.
Let's do it. Facts of the day, boys. What'd you guys come up with?
What's funny is all I did is type into Google fun facts of the day, and I got these 40 facts of the day that came back that were hilarious. But then when I found one that might apply to somebody on the show, I'm like, I've got to go with this. This is why I asked Morris to be like flowers earlier, because Viagra can make flowers stand up straight for a week longer than normal. This was done by an Australian team of scientists.
Hot damn.
And it actually works. So
Viagra, huh?
Viagra can make flowers stand up in a longer for an extra week. Is that not amazing? That it works, I guess.
I have a new disease for you. You ready?
Is it with cows?
Yeah, well, you'll see. I'm just trying to figure out how to pronounce it. Boanthropy. Boanthropy is a disease where you believe you're a cow.
You believe you're what?
You believe you're a cow.
Oh, Lord.
That's so.
There you go.
Wow.
You want to stay away from that one, Daddy.
Wow. There's enough gold inside the Earth to coat the entire planet. Wow. Then why the hell is it so fucking valuable? If there's that much.
Yeah, that's my question is why do they choose that mineral to be the one that's the gold standard, right? Why couldn't it have been copper or just a regular rock sitting on our driveway?
Right? The rocks have been really nice. Yeah, I've got plenty of them in the driveway.
I'm rock wealthy.
Oh, it's actually enough to coat the entire Earth in 1.5 feet of gold, almost 2 feet of gold.
Wow.
That's insane.
In ancient Greece, they believed redheads became vampires after death.
That's right. Some of us become vampires before death.
Well, that explains what my grandmother, my mother, and my wife. So things I get to look forward to.
All of us soulless gingers.
Yeah, wow.
Does anybody know what a flock of ravens is? What is it?
Murder. A murder.
Nope. Nope. Close, but no cigar.
No?
What's a group of goats? I mean, you ought to know that,
Murder
right?
to go. Is it a
Is
herd?
it a herd?
I don't know.
Well, a flock of ravens is called an unkindness.
I thought it was called a murder.
I would have thought so too, but this thing. Hey, Google can't be wrong, right?
Yeah.
Come on. Oh shit. Google can't be wrong. It's called an unkindness.
How did spam get its name?
Oh, it's got to be an acronym for something.
I think it is an acronym.
It's a combination of two words, spice and ham. Spam.
Really?
Yep.
And they love it in Hawaii.
Wow. It
Minnesota
takes a
product.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say spam is a Minnesota product.
No wonder it sucks and nasty and gross. It takes a drop of water 90 days to travel the entire Mississippi River. One drop of water, 90 days to go the full Mississippi.
Interesting.
Crazy.
Tablecloths were originally designed to be used as one big communal napkin. When they were first invented, guests were meant to wipe off their hands and faces on a tablecloth after a messy dinner party.
Oh, that's so
nice.
Tell my wife, please.
So the Boivin boys.
I mean, our dad just uses a shirt, so I mean, kind of.
Stop using the doilies, Morris.
So the Boivin boys can stop, can tell their mom to stop yelling at them when they wipe their hands on the tablecloth.
Try it. It's what it was meant for.
Oh,
That's
Lord.
awesome.
Yeah, my wife tells my grandson just to wipe it on your shirt, son. Just wipe it on your shirt. And I'm thinking, she would never have done that with her own kids. But for her grandson, just wipe it on your arm, wipe it on your shirt.
That's right, yeah.
Before alarm clocks and way before smartphone alarms, there were people called knocker-uppers who would literally knock on people's windows to wake them up in time for work.
So
up until the 1970s, knocker-uppers used a long stick, soft hammers, rattles, or even pea shooters to reach their clients' windows.
Yeah, so there's a very famous in England heavyset lady that invented the pea shooter because when she would knock on doors, it would wake up the neighbors and they would get upset. So she started shooting peas through a straw to only hit one window to wake that person up specifically. And they've made children's books about her. So very famous woman, and she was making what's probably equivalent to $1 a week to shooting peas at people's windows to wake them up.
Crazy. It's silly things like that. Like down in New Orleans in the French Quarter, they have Romeo catchers, which are all the little spikes out the windows, because all the dudes trying to climb in windows, with the women who were showing their tatas and everything else, they have the spikes out the windows. They're actually called Romeo catchers, and their job was to prevent guys from climbing in windows.
Yep.
If they fell, they actually got caught on the spikes, hence the name Romeo catchers.
Bye, Romeo.
Right. Oh, crazy.
How much
All right.
do you think?
Adolf Hitler was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Try that one. Tells you about all the people who have gotten Nobel Peace Prizes over the years as to whether or not they're any good or not. Really,
But as a Nobel Peace Prize, is it like really a thing? I mean,
I don't know. Don't they get like $1 million or something? I don't know.
Yeah, they do get $1 million if you win a Nobel Prize. So
I
so
thought it was
Sheldon
all
got
political.
$1 million.
Yep. Sheldon and
Obama
Amy
got
$1
$1 million.
So how much do you think Augustus Caesar was worth? Net worth.
Augustus Caesar.
Caesar.
Well, he's got a lot of casinos, so take that into
Caesar's
consideration.
Palace. I don't know. Equivalent to today's times, or
Yeah, it's adjusted for inflation and
I don't know how much.
$0.46 trillion.
Insane.
I believe it.
Insane.
Just in the land.
460
Yeah.
He is considered the wealthiest man to ever have lived.
Well, the wealthiest guy that living right now, during the recession that we're in, was that Elon Musk lost $200 billion. Jeff Bezos lost $70 billion. This gentleman lost $7 billion. You know who he is?
Is it an Asian guy?
The owner of Louis Vuitton and all those high-end brands. And the whole argument is, if you solve rich people problems, you can sell rich people prices. And so he's built an inflationary business that won't be a recession-proof business, selling stupidly expensive things to stupidly expensive people. Just a really cool food for thought. So I think most people are selling broke-ass products to broke-ass people.
Yeah.
So,
Or as I like to say, Donnie, don't offer haircuts to bald people.
right? Morris, he's talking to you.
I know. I know.
Plant some flowers on top of your head and see if that trick works.
Wait, does that Viagra powder work?
Good idea. I never thought of that. Hey, what's going on this week, man?
So this week in training, Kevin's going to be teaching rethinking how you communicate. Next week, Monica Tuck is coming in and be teaching rethinking your brand. And then all next month is going to be focused on customer acquisition and retention. And Kevin and I will be teaching a lot of cool strategies in there. And then coming up September 20th through the 23rd in Fort Worth, Texas, is the Badass Business Summit. So we've only got a couple of VIP tickets left there. Jerry will be one of our speakers there. Kevin's speaking there. You'll see Keith and Morris both there. But we are rocking out, and we're getting close to that 60-day mark of being away from the summit. So we did get an email from the hotel stating that because of the TCU football weekend, that rooms are getting ready to start filling up. So if you are coming and you need a hotel room, move fast, because once they release them for the TCU, we'll lose all those spaces and rooms.
Yep.
But going to be a good time. Hope to see you guys there next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll be hanging out here, having a lot of fun with the crew. Jerry, thanks for hanging out with us, my friend.
Yeah, good stuff, Jerry.
Appreciate
Look
it.
forward to seeing you in a few months, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Morris, take it.
Next week, come on by, bring a friend. We'll be right here at Growth Mode Live on Monday morning at 8 o'clock. We'll see you then. Y'all take care. Have a great week.